Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Today I will be showing you how I create these adorable watercolor Polaroids. These are so fun and simple to make, and they're really not a huge time commitment because they're little and you can pop them out really quickly. I cut mine to the same size as the Fujifilm Instax mini camera. But let me tell you, this is not a very easy dimension, and so I'm going to pop up a guideline photo that really helped me when I was trimming mine, and I'd recommend screenshotting that so you can reference it as we go along. Next, I'm going to take my masking tape and tape it down to the table so it will remain stationary and have really crisp, clean borders. Once the tape is completed, I take my watercolor palette and make sure you check out the link in the description because I will have all my supplies I use in this video listed below. And I'm going to take my Master's Touch round brush in a size 6 to begin. I'm going to start this first watercolor with a sunset beach theme. So later on, I will add some silhouettes of some palm trees and an island, but for now, I'm going to stick with some bold, bright pinks and oranges. After the sky is dry, then I move on to my Winsor & Newton detail brush in a size 1 to begin the water. This will fill in the last bit of white space we have on our little Polaroid and complete the background. Okay, so once everything has dried completely, which it usually goes pretty quickly because watercolors tend to dry faster, I'm going to take my Winsor & Newton brush in the smallest size I have, which is a 0, to begin on the silhouette of the island and some fun little palm trees. Then I'm going to take my Micron 01 outliner to create that fine detail as I add a couple birds to the sky. Once my Micron is complete, then I'm going to take my Jelly Roll pen in white to create a couple highlights on the waves. Now we are on to our second illustration. This one is going to be a mountain scene with some silhouettes of hot air balloons in the sky. I'm going to begin by taping this down with our masking tape, and then we're going to start watercoloring. So once our basic sky color is filled in that gradient, I take my brush while my watercolor paint is still wet and wash it completely off and then dab it to make these little clouds with little wispy clouds in the background, and it just makes a soft, blurry effect that I'm really going for here. Okay, so once our sky is dry, I'm going to switch back to my detail brush in a size 1 to begin on the hills. I'm going to start the first layer of mountains with a light gray so it shows that they're very far in the distance. And then with the next two layers, I'm going to build and end on a very dark jet black. I'm switching now to my finest detail brush to create these hot air balloons, and really this is just an oval shape with a little box down below. And as I get farther back, I realize that I'm going to switch to my micron to finish these last fine details that the brush can't really get. And my Sakura Jelly Roll pen comes in handy for this last detail of having a little bit of stars come down, looking like the sky is fading into a deeper starry night. And we're just going to give a couple hints of those stars right at the top. Okay, so now moving on to our third watercolor Polaroid. I had not done the guidelines on this one now, so you can kind of see me with my ruler guiding myself with my pencil, finding out where that tape is supposed to lay. I'm going to open my watercolors and begin a city nighttime scene. I'm going to start with a deep purple and gradiate into a deep maroon hue, kind of a purpley nighttime sky, kind of whimsical. And I love this because you can just be creative and whatever comes to mind, just experiment and try these different things because they're so fun and sometimes you come out with really awesome results. So you want to make sure your sky is completely dry before moving on to the stars, because if it's not, then your stars will get all mixed in with the wet paint that's already there and it won't look all bright and crisp. Anyway, I'm going to begin with my Copic white paint, which the jar has quite exploded everywhere now, but I love this paint. I'm going to take some of it and put it in this clean palette and water it down so it's not so thick and globby. It's easier to sprinkle that way. Okay, so once my stars are done, I will take the brush, wash it out, and move on to the silhouettes of my building. And right here, just be creative with it. I didn't have any plan to where I was going. I just worked with thinner and wider rectangles to create a really cool silhouette. Right at the end, I decided to add one last detail of this light crescent moon. And I'm so glad I did because it really just highlighted the painting and made it look extra whimsical. Okay, so now we're on to our last watercolor Polaroid. I'm just guiding myself for my masking tape, and And then I'm going to begin on a nighttime tree kind of foresty scape. I'm going to start with a deep blue and transition into a pink, and it'll gradiate down, making a really pretty sunset or after sunset look. And as you can see, I just keep my brush moving back and forth from the top of the picture to the bottom until I get that perfect gradation. While the sky is still wet, I use the same method that I used for the hot air balloon Polaroid. I rinse my brush out and then I dab those little fluffy clouds which pull out that wet paint. And now I move back to my trusty white paint to finish the stars. As you can see, I am picking the paint up with my brush and then using the tapping method to create a splatter effect over the painting. And this just kind of has the paint fly wherever it will, also all over the desk. So you have to be prepared to clean up lots of speckly white paints afterward, but it's so worth it because this creates such a beautiful look in the sky. As we finish, we get to enjoy the last satisfying part, the peeling of the masking tape. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like down below and make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed this process. It was super relaxing, and I hope you all were inspired to go create your own watercolor Polaroids.